All right. Hello and welcome back to my channel. I'm very happy to have you here. I don't know what accent I'm doing right now. I'm just doing stuff, doing voices, having fun, having a good time. But on a more serious note, there is an open letter to Rockstar from Out Making Games, a group of hundreds of LGBTQ plus games professionals working in the UK games industry. It is an open letter to Rockstar asking that they take the transphobic shit out of Grand Theft Auto V. This request comes after an article in Kotaku, I'm sure you're shocked about this, from Carolyn Petit, who writes that the 2022 release of GTA V, because Rockstar never stops releasing the same game and trying to cash in on it, even though they've sold like 100 million copies. If you really want to critique Rockstar, let's critique this absolute bullshit of releasing this game over and over and over again. It's even more shameless than Bethesda with Skyrim, which says a lot. And never a single piece of single-player DLC, which is atrocious and ridiculous and, frankly, a betrayal of gamer trust. But Petite, and I hope I'm getting that name right, Carolyn Petit, writes that the Enhanced Edition should leave the 2013 transphobia behind, and there is an image of what appears to be a trans or cross-dressing sex worker at the top of this post, which you will see in the video as I talk. We'll show this image, and apparently there was a YouTube video that showed someone, running this prostitute over, brutalizing some of the game's trans sex workers for his own amusement. And someone in the comments, in the YouTube comments, which are always full of just wonderful people all the time, says you're doing God's work. Petit writes that there's no shortage of transphobia in and around games, but this particular example has stuck with me more than any other. And then we have a story in the Montreal Gazette where this writer writes, many gamers agree that it is time for a change, but they face a challenge. Games that glamorize violence against women. Grand Theft Auto V, the fastest-selling entertainment product ever, shows a man stopping his car to pick up a prostitute. When the deed is done, he runs her over to get his money back. There are no female lead characters, only strippers, porn stars, and dead sex workers. So we'll talk about each of the three of these articles in the open letter or whatever. First of all, the game doesn't show this happening. This is just something you can do as a player. Like, before you write an article about a game, you should familiarize yourself with it enough to know what you're talking about. There are female characters that are not strippers, porn stars, or dead sex workers. There are live sex workers. No, but there are actual female characters. None of them are leads. And I and many other people have said it'd be cool if they would do a GTA 5 with a female playable character. I'd like to see a Bonnie and Clyde GTA 5. That would be cool. But there isn't in this game, just like with many other games. Like in Tomb Raider, there's no male lead, whatever. There's more violence against women in Tomb Raider than in GTA 5, first of all. But anyways, so this article which is all just talking about, just how games are so very violent towards women and yada, yada, yada. The community is so anti-women. And it's just, we don't even hardly have to look at this one. It's so ridiculous and out of touch with actual gaming right now. Petit's article, I gotta say it. I don't remember ever seeing any trans sex workers or any trans people at all in GTA 5. But I don't think there's actually transphobia in the game. There are trans sex workers in the game, apparently, though I've never seen them, and I think a lot of people probably haven't seen them. I've seen cis sex workers in the game. Yes, you can pick up a prostitute, pay her, get sex, and then kill her and take your money, because you can kill any NPC in this game. I'm pretty sure. Most of them, you can run down anyone you want. You can rob them, you can beat them, you can shoot them, you can blow them up with a rocket launcher, whether they're sex workers or just Joe Schmo on the street walking to wherever he's going, his little fake coffee shop in his little fake world. And you can fake kill him with your fake car. It's all fake. It's all pretend. And it's all so stupid that we keep having to talk about this. This article just goes on and on and on. I honestly, I can't, I can't imagine writing this many words about transphobia in a game that really doesn't even have trans people in it. It does have Trevor, and Trevor at one point wakes up in a dress. Trevor's confused. He's like this very aggressive, angry guy. He's funny as all get out, but he's probably gay. He's just as closeted about being Canadian. And at one point, he's like maybe in a dress, but also possibly has cannibalized people. He's a weird dude. He's an interesting character, one of the more interesting characters in video games. But he also tortures people. I remember writing an article years ago about how the game doesn't actually support torture. Because people just want to always pick apart these games as though anything in the game is promoting something that it shouldn't promote. Australia, censored the game or banned it. I can't remember now. It's been a while. But because of this whole sex worker thing, like, if they didn't let you kill... Okay, first of all, they'd have to take prostitutes out of the game completely for you not to be able to kill them because you can kill anybody. Okay, criticize there being sex workers in the game, but basically Petit's article comes down to criticizing the fact that there are trans people in the game at all. Now, maybe you should say that you could say, well, there should be trans people who aren't sex workers. Fine. Well, this game came out in 2013 before the trans craze really took off. And before it became such a major discussion point in the media. And I don't mean that in any which way. It's just that in 2013, we weren't talking about trans issues basically at all. And in 2021, we are. I don't think that means you take stuff out of a game. You don't censor a game just because somebody can theoretically kill one of these very, very rare trans sex workers any more than you should take out non-trans sex workers who can be killed. So the open letter, which is riffing off of Petit's article, they write, as Carolyn Petit writes in Kotaku, unlike for other random NPCs in GTA V, the game appears to purposefully play into extremely harmful stereotypes of trans and gender diverse people to encourage players to be repulsed by them, and even to relish hurting and killing them. I don't understand. How? How does the game do that? This picture, again, of a character I've never seen in a game, in this game, is a little ridiculous, but then again, so are so many things about this game. It's completely over the top. It's a ridiculous game. We reject any argument of equal opportunity violence against all types of characters in GTA V. That argument is missing the point. Given the cultural impact GTA V has around the world, Rockstar has a social responsibility to your players, many of whom may be LGBTQ+, to your staff and to the world at large to not provoke violence against trans and gender diverse people, just against all other types of people, apparently. I don't know why equal opportunity violence misses the point. They mentioned that there were 350 trans and gender diverse people were murdered in 2020. I mean, a lot more people who were not trans and gender diverse were murdered in 2020. And 100 million people have bought the fucking game. If this game actually was putting trans people's lives in danger because there are trans sex workers who you can optionally kill or not kill, we would see a lot more people killing trans people than we are. It's the same. We'd see a lot more people stealing cars, robbing banks, going on high-speed chases with cops. But the fact is, just get tired of saying it over and over again. The fact is that video games do not cause real-world violence. Video games are a reflection of the real world, not the other way around. Since I've been in my Substack, and my Diabolical Substack, we've been doing a book club, and we read A Clockwork Orange and watched the movie. And today there was an article I read, which is just so timely. It was an interview with Malcolm McDowell, who plays Alex in the movie. And the book, of course, is written by Anthony Burgess. I read this quote from him because there was a lot of, the similar reaction when this film came out, because a couple people imitated the film, right? They dressed up like that and they got, there was some violence that occurred. But Burgess, of course, his argument was that these people were going to do violence anyways. The movie didn't cause them to do violence. People who aren't going to do violence aren't going to watch a movie and then go out and be violent. He said at the time, and this is in the 70s, to try and fasten any responsibility on art as the cause of life seems to me to put the case the wrong way around. Art consists of reshaping life, but it does not create life, nor cause life. Furthermore, to attribute powerful suggestive qualities to a film is at odds with the scientifically accepted view that even after deep hypnosis in a post-hypnotic state, people cannot be made to do things which are at odds with their nature. Ergo, playing a video game like GTA V isn't going to make somebody who is nonviolent go out and hurt people in the real world. Meanwhile, people who are already violent by nature will go and do violent things regardless. If you're a transphobic person and you're a violent person, you may go hurt a trans person because you are transphobic and you are violent already. A game like GTA V, again, it's not going to make you those things. There's nothing explicitly phobic in this game at all. This is a game that has, characters from different economic and racial backgrounds, and you go out and you do all kinds of crazy shenanigans because you're criminals. McDowell, again, the actor who played Alex, says, there was more violence on the news. It was the time of Vietnam. If you wanted to see real violence and you wanted to see babies being burned with napalm, turn on the news. Clockwork Orange was more psychologically disturbing. Big Brother, the government, dictating behavior. And that's fascism, isn't it? So, yeah, the news. Again, it's the same today. If you want to see violence, real violence, just turn on the news. Go on social media. See what's happening in Yemen. See what's happening in the Middle East, in Afghanistan with the Taliban taking control again. Yeah. The letter says, the 2022 release of Grand Theft Auto 5 Enhanced and Expanded could be a unique opportunity for Rockstar to correct the problem. We would like to hear back about your plans to address the issue of portrayals of transgender. If Rockstar took the trans sex workers out of GTA 5, we would be seeing headlines that say, Rockstar takes trans people out of GTA 5. And it would be this huge hullabaloo about how that was making the game less diverse, and that was a blow to representation. And, you can play it both ways. It's not hard to do. Let's see. Final paragraph of Petit's article. In many ways, we trans people are fighting for our lives right now. Rockstar has to decide if it cares about that enough to make a few adjustments to its 8-year-old game, or if it wants to keep perpetuating these negative stereotypes, even as they feel increasingly dated, callous, and harmful. That word harmful, always. Either way, the one thing the company can't avoid doing is sending a message. Not really. They're just re-releasing the stupid game. They're not sending a message about anything. The very inclusion of trans people is so minimal in this game that most people didn't even know there were trans people in the game. This is just clickbait. This is just social justice, social signaling clickbait. And, hopefully in the next game, I don't know. I don't know what to say, because honestly, on the one hand, I want compassion and kindness to all people, including trans people. Some of the most vulnerable people in our society, all races, whatever. I want compassion and tolerance. And at the same time, I want equality. And that means that you treat people like people. And in a game like GTA 5, where everything's a joke and everything's sort of gross and violent and, everything's just a little off color, that means that if you include people like trans people in your game, they're going to be probably the butt of some joke. Because everybody is. It's like South Park. Everybody's the butt of a joke. Everybody. If you're in South Park, if you're represented in South Park, you're going to be the butt of a joke. And I think that on a certain level, if we want equality, if we want everyone to be included, if we want representation, then that's going to have to come with, in a game like this, it's going to come. The price is being part of the joke, being part of the inanity, and you don't get to be treated differently in GTA 5 just because you're trans, because that's fucking bigoted. That's the opposite of what we want. Now in other games, there's lots of other types of games that aren't GTA 5, and if this was just a straight game where everything was was by the book, and it wasn't a humorous game, and it wasn't satire, and it wasn't a over-the-top violence, and then you had something like this, a trans character who you could beat up and no one else could be beat up, that would be transphobia, right? But as it stands, this is just part of the ecosystem and the ethos of GTA 5. Maybe you don't like it. I mean, what are you going to do? That's the way it is. The top comment at Kotaku right here says, as a cis male, I encourage others to be supportive and otherwise shut up. But it's just stupid. Anyways, that's enough about that. Thanks for watching. Peace.